Fresh like I just got a contract. Fresh like I just got a max. Roller this, we ballin' to the max. Fresh like I got a contract. Moving through the city, we be going. Yeah, yeah. Roller this, you pullin', now you know it. Yeah, yeah. Fresher than a max contract. Pullin' up, we walkin', then we walkin' in the back.
Every time you see me, know I look like Stephen Curry money. Like finals every year, what you expect from me? I'm jiggy like I'm Lagerfield. Moving like I'm Revis if I play the field. I ain't seen a front exit in about 6 months. I don't even know what it looked like. You still struggle with security, what's that like? I'm on a different wave at the Clippers game. Got your woman texting me while I'm talking to Doc. Phone ringing through the presser, had to text her to stop. Why she sitting parallel to the niggas she got? I've been the realest since my rookie deal. 85 mic when I pull up here, yeah. And you pull up like a Lord with candy. Speaking from your burner, saying you can't stand me.
Fresh like I just got a contract. Fresh like I just got a max. Roller this, we ball to the max. Fresh like I got a contract. Moving through the city, we be going. Roller this, you pullin', now you know it. Fresher than a max contract. Pullin' up, we walkin', then we walkin' in the back. Fresh like I just got a contract. Fresh like I just got a max. Roller this, we ballin' to the max. Fresh like I got a contract. Moving through the city, we be going. Roller this, you pullin', now you know. Alrighty. What's good, fans? What's good, fans? Everybody out there, how y'all doing? It's your boy TPJ. What's good? We here. Sorry. We here with live. How y'all living out there? We are here live on the internet right now. Shout out to the homie Big Watts for coming through, talking with us on Hoops and Brews. Finally got the homie to come through. Always seeing behind the scenes fashion aficionado. Make sure you go check him out over at The Athletic. I'm sure he's got a million other things he's doing. So Watts, go ahead, talk to the people, let them know how you doing.
I'm good, man. I'm chilling. My dog is going crazy right now because he's just a jerk. But I'm chilling, man. I'm good. I'm happy to be on, man. When Pavy reached out to me, he said he wanted to talk about Dirk's 2011 playoff and how incredible it was. I was like, of course I'll come on and talk about that. And of course we're going to get into Dame Lillard and all of that. But yeah, I threw on, I actually just got this witness shirt in the mail. It's actually coincidental. I was wearing a tank top and I was like, come on, if we're going to be live to the view, I might as well wear real shirts. And so, but yeah, it's only right because Dirk absolutely slayed the Dragon in 2011 as it pertained to that Heat team. So it was dope.
Yeah. And the reason why we started talking about that was because the homie, Glass. I can't hear you. Can you hear him?
Sorry, I'm being distracted by my girl. Sorry, I had muted myself.
Okay. My bad. But I was gonna say the reason why we started talking about that was because the big homie Glasses Malone. Ever since quarantine happened, he been going into overdrive with the hot takes. So he be hitting us up. He be calling me at certain times like, yo, whatever. So he texts us like, yo, Dirk had the greatest finals run ever. And I was like, I don't think Dirk had the greatest finals run ever. So that's one of the reasons why we want to talk to you about it, obviously, because it's just an interesting conversation. I mean, Dirk technically went through a lot of people in that 2011 finals run. He wound up going through Bron, D-Wade, Bosh. Then he go through Harden, KD, and Russ. And then he go through Duncan as well. Yeah, he went through the Spurs. Did he go through the Spurs? No, they didn't go through the Spurs that year? Let me see. Hold on.
I'm not sure he played the Spurs.
Hold on 1 second. Let me go through it. But still, even just with that particular class within itself, of you being able to go through all those guys will become eventual MVPs.
He went through the Blazers, the Lakers, the Thunder, and the Heat.
Okay, but he went through the Blazers. Who the Blazers have on that team?
I know they had LaMarcus. Dane wasn't there yet. I don't think
Okay.
Brandon Roy might have been hurt by then. They had LaMarcus, Gerald Wise, Andre. No, Brandon Roy played. He just didn't start. Batum, Camby, Wesley Matthews, Andre. A solid team. They weren't like crazy, but it's a good team.
Yeah, actually, they were a very.
When
good
I
team.
was when we were thinking about the topic,
And the Mavericks were the 3rd seed that year.
Yeah. When we were thinking about the topic, because at first I was like, yeah, it is. And then I was like, nah, like, what did Hakeem do in 94, 95? I think Hakeem's run in 94, 95 is the only run in recent memory that I would say is better than Dirk's run in 2011. Hakeem went through the Jazz. First of all, Hakeem was a 6 seed, number one. They went 47-35. They did have Clyde that came over mid-season, but Clyde then wasn't the Clyde that he was in Portland, obviously. So they went through the Jazz first. Then they went through Barkley and the Suns. Then they went through the MVP. That's when he had the famous dream shake on David Robinson. And then they went through Shaq. So that's about the only run I can remember in recent memory that stacks up or I think is better than what Dirk did in 2011.
Yeah, you know what's crazy, man? When I thought about it, I didn't really think about it in terms of the competition that was in front of him. I thought about it more in terms of like what that shit did for how we think about Dirk.
Oh my
right?
God, yeah.
You know, and like again, he was excellent. You know,
Yeah.
had an incredible playoff. He was clutch. He was all of that. Like he scored. He couldn't be stopped 1-on-1. No team had any answers for him 1-on-1. But I think what the playoff run did for him reputationally is just something you can't even measure. He goes from, you know, people saying, man, he's been kind of a disappointment in his playoff career, and maybe the soft and European and all of that stuff, the kind of label was warranted. To, you know, he has, especially in the finals, man, like they literally couldn't guard him with one guy. Like they tried Chris Bosh, they tried LeBron, they tried all these people, and Dirk was just taking them down one by one, and it was incredible to see. Now, you know, I wasn't crazy about that Blazers team. Even the Thunder team was, while obviously we realized they were extremely talented, we know that they were young and still had a lot of stuff to figure out. Even like somebody like, say, a Westbrook was nowhere close to anything, the kind of player that he would eventually be. And that Lakers team was, let's face it, that was Phil's last year.
Yo, sorry. The image of Bynum knocking, who was the Bray out there, clothesline Bray out there and throwing his jersey. That was one of the most hilarious images in my recent playoff memory.
And yo, shout out to everybody out there heating me. Somebody said I got that clean beat, and somebody said I look like the last airbender. But shout out to y'all for flaming me. But I will say this, that Bynum shoulder shift to JJ Barea is one of the greatest moments in NBA history. I don't care what anybody says. I remember that moment vividly because that man, JJ Barea, is shorter than me. Went up to the rim, G. Why did you hit that man with the elbow like that? Literally, when that happened, I was like, yeah, it's over, G. It's over. Literally, it's over.
Yeah,
it's all
Barea
over.
is about 5'6". Andrew Bynum is 6'11".
That happened in that series, right? When they got swept? Yeah. I'm not tweaking, right? Yeah, okay. All right.
The game was out of reach. Like, the series was clearly over.
Yeah.
And Andrew Bynum, in a moment of frustration, he clotheslined the dude. But to get back to Dirk, you know, he was just – it wasn't just that he was great himself. I think when we think of that Dallas team is that there were no other stars, so to speak, in the way that we think of stars like Dwayne Wade and LeBron James and a Dirk Nowitzki. But the team was perfectly constructed around Dirk, right? Yeah. Tyson Chandler was a defensive player of the year candidate, all defensive team type of center. And even offensively, the thing that he did well when you were even using him in the play was challenging the rim vertically on pick and roll. So Dirk, of course, his defense is not going to leave him out to the three-point line, and that made that pick and roll that Jay Kidd would run with Tyson Chandler extremely deadly. Of course, Jason Terry was still, you know, a very good player, incredibly clutch player, would hit big shots and big moments. I just think they had a really dope team constructed around Dirk, Shawn Marion, all of those guys, man.
Yeah, no, like you're correct. Because honestly, you know, obviously the way we look at Dirk now, not even Dirk, but Dallas is like a franchise. Honestly, to that point in time, I think everybody kind of thought Dallas had kind of missed their beat. I mean, when Dirk,
Yeah,
won
he was
and they
MVP.
got swept by Golden State, you would have kind of thought the league had kind of passed the Mavericks along. And, obviously they're still a good team. They're going to make the playoffs every year, but I don't think anybody saw them making a run that they made. So I think
I disagree with that. I disagree with that. They had the same record as the Lakers that year. They weren't that bad that year. That team was still good. I was a Dirk fan back then. That team was not a bad team. I personally thought that they could have. I thought they could have made that run that year. I really did.
You thought Dallas was going to beat the Heat in the championship?
Yeah. I've never rooted for LeBron. No, listen. This is back when I had my old Twitter account. Pavy, you remember my old Twitter account? On my old Twitter account, literally, I've talked to numerous times about Dallas is gonna beat Miami, and then when Dallas beat Miami, literally it was like it doesn't matter that it was out of hate. It still happened. It happened.
A troll.
It wasn't a troll though. I was dead ass. LeBron, I knew LeBron didn't have that heart to do it. Once Jason Terry said he got a championship tattooed on his bicep, and they asked LeBron about it, and he kind of shrugged it off, like, whatever, I don't care about that. I'm like, yeah, man, he in his head. It's over. I wouldn't even respond to that. Literally, you asked me about the next question. I wish somebody would ask Patrick Beverly about another player tattoo. He gonna say next question, or he just gonna look at you. Get out of here, man. I know I was one of the only people. So when it happened, literally, I was on Twitter going crazy on my old Twitter account.
That's also
why I deleted that old Twitter account.
That's also
and all of the tweets before I tweeted. Before I deleted the account.
Is by far the greatest championship celebration ever.
Yeah.
It lasted 3 weeks. From I think Dirk was faded with the trophy. Mark Cuban took it in the urinal, or let Dirk took it in the urinal. Who took it to the urinal?
One of them.
Somebody took trophy to the urinal.
They partied at Live.
They partied at Live. Like everything that Sean Stevenson did and his whole antics. That's another side story. Is Sean Stevenson kind of getting his revenge? Like people may not remember those Wizards Cavs series.
Oh yeah.
Even
was
it the Jay-Z freestyle off of Blow the Whistle with the Sean Stevenson disc?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like people don't really. That's a little background of the series that
I just want to say,
they have forgotten.
Hov writing disses for the Sean Stevenson is the top 5 funniest thing ever, bro. Why are you dissing to Sean Stevenson, G?
Like those Cavs Wizards rivalries were actually really solid rivalries for 2-3 years. They were actually really good rivalries. So I wish you had. As far as reputation, what it did with someone's reputation, I can't remember one ring doing more for one player's reputation than what it did for Dirk.
And you gotta remember too the attitude around the Heat. Everybody wanted to see them fail. Everybody wanted to see them humbled. So Dirk delivered something for everybody, for the nation. Yeah. He delivered that for them because the haters were and I talk about this all the time. You can't even describe it. You can't understand if you weren't heavily invested in NBA basketball at the time emotionally, how much this Heat team resonated. Nobody
really
felt indifferent about that team. You either hated them or you loved them.
I didn't. And the craziest thing is D-Wade is my favorite player of all time. But once LeBron went there, I was in good conscience. I can't root for this. So literally, I rooted against the Heat for all of them years until LeBron left. And once LeBron left and it was D-Wade and Bosh there again, I was cool. And then once Chris Bosh got hurt, I was like, damn.
Now, mind you, I'm in the middle of Rose Country doing all this. Mm-hmm. So, because I'm in Chicago, so I'm in the middle of Rose Country. The hate people had for LeBron
is real.
I don't need the hate people have for Heat. It was different. It was irrational amounts of hate. I remember when the Bulls beat the Heat's 24-game win streak. People actually thought they would be in the playoffs. I swear to God. There was a portion of the city who still thought the Bulls would actually go beat the Heat in the playoffs.
I did.
Why did you think that?
I did, but it would only happen if Boozer was able to give you 20 and 10, and he just couldn't do
that.
So
Boozer could give you 30 and 10. It wouldn't happen.
If Boozer's the answer to your question, you need to change the question.
It's never going to happen, bro.
You need to burn the test.
Also, I love D-Rose. He could have kept every single one of his knee ligaments. They weren't beating the Heat. It was not happening. It wasn't happening. Now, he may have got them in 2014 when he went to Cleveland. Kyrie's first year when Love was hurt, if everything played out the same, they were never beating the Heat. It was never happening. Never happened. But you're right. Like, they delivered something that everybody wanted to see. And then Chris Bosh falling out. He got off the court, made it funny. Chris Bosh walked off the court, fell down crying.
America was so pleased.
Man, it was
They were
flailing
so
everywhere.
pleased
I
with
was
the result of the
pleased.
series, and I think
I
that
was
elevates the
pleased.
accomplishment.
I was pleased. I rooted against them. I wanted the Mavericks to beat them. Literally, when Jason Terry started hitting threes and started flying around the arena, I was flying around my house.
So
Jet
for
vibe.
me,
Jet vibe.
I had already stopped watching First Take, right? I think the last time that I watched First Take, literally, while Skip, and I don't watch it now. It's not for me. I'm not the type of sports fan that show targets.
Yeah.
But the last time that I had watched it was after Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals of that season, when D Wade and Bron made a bunch of fucking threes in the fourth quarter, and I made sure the next day to watch First Take, so I could watch everybody eat crow, right? Specifically Skip, and he, of course, because that's his job. It's always been his job to find a way to denigrate every single LeBron accomplishment, right? Like, so whatever, he found a way to talk to him, but you could tell his heart wasn't even in it. It was like, come on, fam, like, they beat this team in 5 games. Like, LeBron in the fourth quarter was guarding the best player on the other team and doing a damn good job at it, right? I don't want to say he shut down D Rose, but the reason D Rose wasn't as effective as he was always used to being in those spots was because LeBron was on them. And like, LeBron played really well, and I think LeBron played well for the first 3 games of this season. Series. He wasn't a world beater, but he played well. He played good enough, and the team had a 2-1 lead. And I tell people this to this day. I'll never remember who the writer was who asked this question, but it was after LeBron dished off to Chris Bosh for that game-winning shot in Game 3 against the Mavericks. And after the game, some dude basically was like, "Yo, basically was like, are you not gonna take over the series? Like, it seems like you're being passive and you're doing this." And LeBron's
I remember that.
He was so confused. He was like, "Wait, what? Like, we just won. We're up 2-1. Like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?"
Because everybody knew. We saw it. We saw that fear in his eyes.
Nah, there was no fear. Everybody wanted him to go out and drop 30 a game. And basically, like, LeBron's like, I don't know how to do that on this team yet. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? Like, him and D Wade had not yet established a pecking order.
He couldn't shoot against that zone, G. That's what it was. They zoned up on his ass, and there wasn't nothing he could do about it.
Nah, it wasn't a zone.
Who
It wasn't a zone. It was
on that
like,
team
he
can
didn't
stretch?
feel comfortable in their offense. Like, a zone off. Like, that's not something.
Literally,
that's
they was
hard.
zone Bron and make him shoot in the mid-range, which made him uncomfortable because there wasn't no space on the floor because D Wade and Bosh was out there. Who else was shooting? Rio? Udonis?
Why didn't teams zone the next year?
Because
Like,
because the next year they had Shane Battier and they had Mike Miller. Am I not correct? Then they went down and got shooters. They went out and got shooters after that.
But like Shane Battier, even the Shane Battier thing was like, that was by accident, right? They started playing him at power forward because Chris Bosh got hurt in 2012 against the Pacers. Remember, they started that Boston series that ended up 4-7. They played the first, I think, 5 games without Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
And so they started playing Battier at power forward, and they figured that out. And then, like, they came to these things by accident. I don't think it was, and even with people, collapsing the paint, that's been the strategy against LeBron for his whole career.
And it works.
Essentially.
And it works.
Has been,
And it works like a
collapsing.
motherfucker. It works like a bitch. It works like hell.
I mean, it works if there's no shooting on the floor.
It
but
works
that's
6
against
times.
anybody.
It works 6 times. It works a lot.
I mean, 6 times? Is that really what we're going with? The Golden State Warriors with KD, it worked 6 times?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Because they collapsed the paint against LeBron, it worked.
I mean, literally, how's she gonna beat them teams? How's she gonna beat them teams? All it was literally Bron driving to the hole, dishing out the 3-point shooters. Once you collapse the paint on Bron and you double more on Bron, it makes it harder for Bron to be able to do what he can do. It makes it a lot harder for Bron to be able to do what he can do. Even coach from basketball, even coach from B-ball reference was talking to us about how, like, Draymond plays linebacker, so it makes it a lot harder, especially for guys like LeBron, to be able to do what they want to do in the paint, because basically not only is he defending at the same time, but he's also directing the other side of the defense while he's defending at the same
Say
time.
6 times it worked.
I mean, yeah, but he played the Spurs. He played the Spurs. He played the Spurs too.
But real quick.
He played the Spurs. Did he not play the Spurs?
Real quick. The Spurs to this day played the best team ball I've ever seen in my life. Like
And what else did they have? And what else did they have?
Huh?
What else did they have?
What?
Great paint defenders.
Yes, but LeBron still shot like 6%.
So, but why does it matter how many percent you shoot if you can't be as effective when we defend you a different way? It don't matter how good you shoot. It don't matter how good you shoot.
You have to be able to guard the rim in order to defend a LeBron James offense. That's 100%. Because, I mean, now I don't know. Like, I think LeBron finds a different way to attack the paint now. I think it's like post-ups and shit. It's not what it used to be when he was younger, where he just dropped to the rack, finishing over everybody. Didn't win the championship because they protected the paint. They won the championship because they had KD. Like, don't say it worked 6 times.
I mean, they did defend the paint.
They won the championship because they had KD.
I mean, they did defend the paint.
And
Green
also
put the nut
because
tap
Cleveland-
on Bron, and Bogut got hurt, and it wasn't nobody to defend the paint but Festus Ezeli and Andrew Varejao.
They also didn't have KD. They also didn't have KD and Steph was hurt.
Steph wasn't hurt that series, man. Steph was hurt way before that. We gonna stop using Steph was hurt in the 3-1 series. I don't want to hear that, G. That's an excuse, G.
No,
that's
it's
a
not.
goddamn excuse, G. It's an excuse, G. He was fine when he was in Portland, shimmying and shaking and saying I'm back and shit. Then all of a sudden in the finals he hurt. That's an excuse, bro. I love Steph, but I don't make that excuse, G.
Too many hot takes.
It's not a hot take, G.
Too many hot takes.
How is that a hot take, G?
We gotta address,
was Steph hurt in Portland?
That it worked 6 times. Comment.
It did.
It worked 6 times.
It did. How else do you beat LeBron?
2007. The Cavs lost that series because the Spurs protected the paint. Really? Do you want to go up and down that?
G, did you not watch
Cavs
that
roster?
series, G? Tony Parker slashed and dashed them the whole series, and LeBron couldn't do nothing in the paint, and the rest of the guys, including the other bigs that they had on the team, wasn't doing nothing. They didn't have no shooters on that team.
2007.
They didn't have no shooters on that 2017.
In 2007,
who on that 2017
the
was
Cavs
shooting?
lost that series because the team was really bad. It's not. I mean, yeah, the strategy, of course, is to protect the paint. Just look at
just because the team bad don't mean the strategy change. Just because the team bad don't mean the strategy change. What that mean? The team bad mean your strategy change just because the team bad? No, you use it even more. It's even more effective if the team ain't as good. What you mean?
But everybody has a strategy. Everybody has a strategy, but the effectiveness of the strategy depends upon who you're playing against. I mean, that goes without saying. That was their strategy in 2013, and they lost. You understand what I'm saying? And by the way, Bron spent a bunch of that series not wanting to take mid-range jumpers, which is essentially what they was giving them. They was like, yo, take your mid-ranges. We don't think you can make them. Then he took them the last 2 games, made them, and they won the series. But this idea that, like, all you have to do is pack the paint against LeBron, and voila, you get to win. That's craziness.
It's the truth, G. It's the truth. Even KD was a demon in the paint when he was playing on the Warriors. Let's not act like KD went out there averaging more than a block a game when he was playing with the Warriors. He was a demon in the paint. He was a
but that's not.
What you mean, G? What do you mean, G?
That's not why the Warriors.
All right, bro.
That's not.
The Warriors did not win.
That's not why the Warriors beat them, bro. That's not why the Warriors beat them.
When Rodney Hood was the starting 2 guard for the Cavs, you gonna tell me 6 times it worked is because they like come on,
G. 6 times it worked because of that.
That's not why they beat them.
And if you want to argue the 2 Warriors years, then fine. 4 times it worked. He still lost.
2007 doesn't count.
You can say
they should have lost. They shouldn't have even been in the finals.
It don't matter what they should. It matters what happened. It don't matter what should have happened. It matters what happened. It happened.
The thing about 07 is Bron had not yet. If Bron had the jump shot he had in 2018 that he had in 07, series would have went 6. Even if you look at the last 2 games, like those were really, really great defensive series. I think the Cavs were like top 5 in defense that year or something like that. Spurs were obviously top 5 in defense. So it was a really, really defensive series. Even like the last 2 games, I think it was separated by like 3 points. I think Like, it was like some of the lowest scoring games in the finals ever. If Bron could shoot better, obviously you have Tim Duncan down there. You can't just drive to the lane against Tim Duncan. If Bron could shoot better, that series would have extended longer. Against the Warriors, what happened was, for one, the Cavs offense was overpowered, and the Warriors offense was overpowering, and the Cavs didn't have the defenders.
Hold on, Pavy. I want to just say some of the stellar names from this roster that
you talking to me about the roster. I love how LeBron fans
is
always
so
be
enamored
making
of
excuses.
And talking about paint stopping.
LeBron fans make so many
was
excuses.
out of the league within 3 years. Mind you, he's only like 23
also-
years old when
and
he
also-
was
and
the
hold-
second best offensive player on
Hold on,
this
wait a
team.
second. In 2007, LeBron shot 35% from the field goal range in the finals, by the way. So, and he shot 20% from three.
Yes. He played against an all-time great defense with, again, 5-on-1. When you go 1-on-5 against a Hall of Fame defense, that's what's going to happen. What are you talking about? That's what's going to happen. That's what's gonna happen.
Right.
And I love to use the example of Kobe in 2010. He loses a game where he shoots 25% from the field in a clinching game because he's playing with people who can lift him up in moments that he's not at the best that we know he's capable of playing, right? That's what happens. You can win a game 7, shooting 6 for 24 in a game, because why? Because you got competent people around you that can lift you up in literally the biggest moment in the sport,
It
which
was
is
Ron.
game 7 in the
It was
finals.
Ron Artest. We all thought Ron Artest was washed. Let's stop it.
Okay.
Let's stop
and
it,
Pau
G.
Gasol,
Let's stop it, G.
and Lamar Odom.
Let's stop
and
it,
these
G.
are just bad players.
Stop
right?
it. No. Lamar Odom and Pau Gasol are not bad players, but let's not act like the guy that hit the goddamn shot for them to win wasn't the guy that was an outcast that everybody had given up on and nobody believed in but Kobe Bean Bryant. Stop
Do you
that,
remember
man.
Sasha
People had
Pavlovich?
given up on Ron. What you talking about?
We hadn't.
Get the fuck out of here. He was bouncing around. He was bouncing around like a basketball. He had gotten traded like 4 times, G. What?
Ron
Signing with the champions?
Look, man, Ron.
Come on, G.
Ron Artest was not 2005,
Come on, G.
2006 Ron or Pacers
on,
Ron.
G.
We had not
You making
given up on
y'all
Ron
making
Artest.
excuses
You
for
talking like
LeBron.
this, Ron? You talking like this New York Ron Artest?
Y'all making excuses for LeBron. That's what I see. Y'all making excuses.
Everybody
Y'all literally
has
making
excuses
excuses.
but LeBron, and that's what I like though. But that's my thing about LeBron.
But this thing, you got excuses for LeBron. Steph, my favorite player. I don't have no excuses for him. D Wade, one of my favorite players of all time. I don't have no excuses for him. I don't have no excuses for Steve Nash. I don't have no excuses for Michael Jordan. I don't have no excuses for Shaq. I don't have no excuses for them. But somehow LeBron fans got so many excuses for it. What you mean? Yes, I do.
Shaq's record
yes, I bring up the fact Steve Nash ain't get to an NBA Finals all the time when I talk about the greatest point guards of all time. He can't be in that class.
NBA Finals record committed to memory. Do people have the amount of time Shaq got swept out of the playoffs committed to memory?
I remember how many times Jerry West lost. I remember how many times Jerry West lost. I remember how many times Michael Jordan lost.
Like, the idea that going to the finals 6 times and losing is somehow bad. Like, the idea that losing in the NBA Finals is somehow worse than losing in the conference finals.
Yeah,
like,
that's the way
somehow, if he would have just stopped short of the conference finals, of the finals in those seasons, right, and lost in the conference finals.
I mean, we could even talk about when he lost to Orlando. We could even talk about when he lost to Orlando and he basically quit. Come on, man. Let's stop this. Let's stop this.
He basically quit against Orlando.
G,
the
when
series that he averaged 40, 10, and 10. He quit.
G, we know Bron won in that series. G, we know Bron won in that series. G,
quit against Orlando.
we know Bron won in that series. We know Bron won in that series. We know Bron Head won in that series.
Wait, relax.
Fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Come on, bro. Stop it.
You can say he arguably got. Wait, hold on. You can say he arguably got out. Hold on. You can say he arguably got outplayed by Dwight Howard. What Dwight Howard did in that series was wild as hell. Also, as a team, the Magic shot 40% from 3. Do you know how wild it is to shoot 40% as a team from 3 in the series? That team was just badly built. They built that team to play against the Lakers, but forgot you got to play against the Magic first. When you got Ben Wallace and you got Ilgauskas out there, basically as your point 5. You got Rashard Lewis out there. That don't really bode well for you.
The bottom line is Delonte West was the second best player on the Cavs that year. Could you do you understand what's happening? Can you even
in 2009?
Can you even
in 2009?
In that series, he was the second best player. 100%.
You said that year. You said that year though. You just said that year. You just said that year. You ain't say that series. You know, get that.
Who was the second best player? Andy G.
IG.
Zadrunas.
G. Delonte West ain't never been better than Ilgauskas. G. Stop it. He wasn't even better than whatever was left of Ben Wallace out there. Stop that, G.
The only other offensive threat on the team was Delonte West. LeBron James averaged 40 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds on incredible efficiency in a conference finals.
And didn't win and somehow didn't get it done, G. Stop, G. Come on, G.
A lot of times I think
y'all got a lot of excuses for Bron.
Actually think more of LeBron than his fans do. Because like the idea that a guy
I do think highly of him.
40, 10, and 10 is insane.
I do think highly of him. When have I never said I thought lowly of him? You have to think highly of him for him to compete for him to compete for the title of greatest player. But when y'all want to immediately crown him as being the greatest player, I gotta hold him up against the greatest players. And when he ain't doing what the greatest players been done, you can't hold him up there. Jerry West went to what, 9 finals, 1 and 8 in the finals. You don't put him up there with the greatest of all time in that top 5 convo because he 1 and 8. You don't put Wilt in that conversation because Wilt won 2 rings and was big as hell and couldn't somehow do nothing in the playoffs against Bill Russell. What?
The only people in the conversation with LeBron James is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Michael Jordan. That's it. There's no other people in the convo. There's nobody else. There's no, like, you can't even, like the fact that people still argue that the Cleveland situation the first time around was not deplorable is crazy, bro. Like, you literally got to look through the tape. Just go through the tape. Go through the roster. Go through the people that was on those teams.
Look who Michael Jordan played with. He fucking played with 35-year-old George Gervin when he first got in the league. You act like he played with some fucking offensive dynamos out there. Stop it. It won 37 goddamn games.
They didn't have a 500 record. They were 40-42.
Is Andy V going to the Hall of Fame? Is Andy V going to the Hall of Fame?
George Gervin at 35?
That's your argument. To the Hall of Fame.
That's your argument. Not. George Gervin at 35 is your argument.
Is not going. Boobies. Monk Williams is not going to the Hall of Fame.
At 35, G? Did you not see George Gervin? What? All right.
Mike didn't win championships with whack teams. I'm sorry. He got his ass kicked over and over when his teams were bad.
And so did Bron. So did Bron. Somehow Bron get to make it to the finals every year, but then y'all argue me, his team was bad. How the hell is team bad if he somehow make it to the finals? He's that great, but somehow he ain't great enough to win it. Somehow when he get to the opportunity where he get to win it, it don't really count because his team wasn't that good, but they was good enough to get there. I'm confused.
They actually were.
I need a shirt. I need a Nike shirt that says "confused?" in the same font that says "witness," because that's what I am. I'm confused. The man came out the gate doing this. You ain't the Messiah. It didn't happen. Literally, it did not happen. Little Stephen Curry ruined it.
What did happen is what you witnessed is literally one of the 3 best basketball players.
What I witnessed is one of the top 10 greatest basketball players. What I've witnessed is one of the top 10 greatest basketball players of all time. He ain't win enough to get there.
Popovich is not going to the Hall of Fame.
And he's not going to the Hall of Good. So is Rolando Woolridge. He ain't going. Bill Cartwright ain't going. Horace Grant ain't going. I don't want to hear that. Nah, is he going to the Hall of Fame? No. Is he going to the Hall of Fame? Did he go to the Hall of Fame? No, I'm asking you, did that man go to the Hall of Fame? He didn't go to the Hall of Fame, did he?
Fair.
Did he go to the Hall of Fame?
Orlando Woolridge, to be fair, is better than most as an individual player. Better than basically everybody LeBron played with his first 10 years. To be fair. But real quick,
Jed Bushler ain't going to the Hall of Fame. Bill Winnington ain't going to the Hall of Fame. The whole reason we started talking about this was because we was talking about Dirk beating his ass in the 2011 finals.
I want to switch gears and kind of go back to that. Just for you guys, can you guys give me, I guess maybe, I don't want to do top 5. Top 5 is like a lot to think about. But your top 3 favorite playoff runs that you've watched. Favorite playoff runs from players or teams that you've watched. Your top 3 favorite.
2012 Bron, for sure. That was a magical run. I would say, for me, I remember the 98 playoffs. Like, I actually watched all of those series. Yeah. And, it was a ground bound mic. It was a straight up mental game and just straight up, I get 2 inches to get my shot off and I'm able to kill you that way. The Pacers basically gave these motherfuckers everything they can handle.
Everything.
And that series was crazy. Obviously, we remember the Utah series. So 98 Mike, 2012 Bron. Off the top of my head, outside of that, man, I don't know. Cause even the Lakers and Celtics championships of 2008 to 2010, I don't think of those championships as individual performances, like somebody just going, yo, I'm straight up putting this thing on my back and making it happen. And even Steph, he was on his way to a crazy playoff in 16, and he did get hurt, and his play diminished. Like, if people don't remember, but what he was doing to Houston was disgusting and unfair. Like, he was just destroying them before he fell on that wet spot. And I think that could have been something. But, like, you never really got to see, like, even KD in 17, and my dog is going nuts. Even KD in 17, when he finally,
he heard your Braun hot takes. Now he ready to fight.
Well, it's maintenance day in our courtyard, right? In the apartment building space. And he likes to act like he's attacking the maintenance dudes, and it's just like, bro, like, you're not Cujo. Like, it's a freaking Mutt Dotson. Like,
that's
bro,
funny as hell.
Get out of here.
That's
but no, what I was
hell.
saying about KD is, like, even KD in 17 when he breaks through, like, nobody watched that and thought that KD actually had to break a sweat. And I think that's the difference between when that shit with Draymond's talking about, oh, KD should have got the throne or whatever after 17. Yeah. People like, son, stop it. Like, we saw what happened with Bron and them in 2012 when he finally won. Boston had them on the ropes. Like, OKC, they went into that series as the underdog. Like, Vegas, everybody, the odds were, yo, OKC's going to beat this Heat team. They barely got past old-ass Boston. It looked like he actually had to try. I don't know whether you want to believe that's true or not. I think that's the perception about what KD did.
I think KD could have got the crown, though. I think he could have got the crown. I think he could have got the crown if he would have came back the next year and won MVP. But he didn't come back next year to win MVP.
It's impossible to win MVP.
He didn't. Yes, it is. And I disagree with that. He could have came out next year and took everything that he did up to, like, back to what he used to do on that level, because Steve Kerr was giving him the ball. Like that last 2 seasons for me as a Warriors fan, it felt like Steve Kerr was trying to be like, Kevin, take the ball. And KD was just like, and then Steph Curry was like, well, I guess I'll shoot it coming off a screen, which is why Warriors fans was so mad at Steve Kerr, because they felt like he was just turning him into a shooting guard. But I just think that if KD would have came back next year and would have, like, put up like something where he was like averaging like 28, 10, and like 5. Like, then that would have been like, okay, all right, cool. You come back, then y'all come back again, and y'all go like 15-0 in the playoffs. I'm sorry, 15-1, not 15-0, or 16-0, or 14-2, or something crazy like that. But even the next year in the playoffs, they looked a little bit more, fallible. You don't have a crown after that, because Braun still was looking better. I mean, wasn't that the year he played Toronto and all of that stuff? He was looking superhuman. Yeah. KD wasn't looking superhuman, so you can't get the crown if you don't come back after you take the crown from the king and then establish that again.
DJ,
you don't.
You make a good point. I think what happened was in 17, they literally did the thing we all thought they were gonna do, which is completely dominate everybody, like just destroy people. By the way, that Cavs team is one of the best teams Bron has ever played. It's probably overall the best team he's ever played on.
I agree with that.
Overall.
I agree with that. That team was crazy.
They get smoked in 5 games.
They got decimated in the finals.
They got destroyed.
They should have won 6. If Kyle Kobe would have made that goddamn 3, should have won 6.
Yeah.
Should have won 6. But they got decimated.
Like, they got killed. And so KD and the team, like, they're not dumb. They realize, like, we don't have to actually exert ourselves every single night to beat teams really badly. And to PJ's point, they came out and they didn't do nothing. They chilled. They relaxed throughout the whole year. KD didn't come out like he did in 14 and was just like, fuck that. I'm hooping. I'm balling out. I'm gonna show people what I got. He didn't do that. He did the opposite of that. He chilled. He coasted the whole year.
I just don't think
that's true.
I just don't think personally that with the team that they had, voters were going to give it to him. Obviously, when you see Harden would average like 30 and 10, and then win 66 and 16, like he would have.
But they struggled out the gate
with the team that they. With the no, they didn't struggle out the gate. Chris Paul got hurt. No. Chris Paul got hurt. That's when the MVP campaign really started, because Chris Paul got hurt. Chris Paul didn't come back until like December, damn near January. Even if KD does do what you're saying he should do, Steph's gonna take away some votes from him because obviously if he hoops, Steph's gonna hoop well. So some people who would vote for KD are gonna vote for Steph. I don't think there was any way any of them get individual awards when joining together because it's the perception in the media was that you had too much talent. Even though I personally think that after the first year, obviously they lost a couple people. Also, I thought the league, not as a whole, but some teams got closer to them. Mm-hmm. I thought the Rockets had a very, very great chance. I mean, it took historic shit for them not to win. I thought the league kind of caught up to them, but that for that 1 year that they had, 2017, they were obviously so far away from anybody that, you know, it was what it was. But if I had to give out my personal favorite playoff runs, I would go, granted, I didn't see this in real time, but just going back and looking at it, 93 Jordan, and then even, you know, knowing what's going on behind the scenes with the gambling stuff and everything, and then even the Phoenix series, which I personally think is his best finals. I mean, even watching Game 6, I don't think people realize he had 33 points, and 31 of them were on jump shots.
Man, he was 3 years old.
31 of them were on jump shots, or he got to the free throw line. He didn't get a layup into the basket before Paxson's 3. That was the first layup he got that entire game. So I would go for 93 Jordan. I would go with I'm gonna go with 2012 Bron, just because of the fact that, like, what that Game 6 in Boston did for him. Like, what does the world look like if that game doesn't happen the way it happened? like, what does the world look like, bro? You know, so I think for him having that moment to just basically shut everybody up, and just when like your kids ask you like, yo, so what's one of the best LeBron games you've seen? You're not gonna mention 3 games before you mention that game. That's gonna be one game that you mention.
You know what I forgot to mention? Shaq in 02, the second championship.
02?
You mean 01, not 02, 01. Shaq in 01, where they just, they ran through the. Shaq was he was crazy that year. That was his best season probably in the NBA. Like, that was Shaq at his peak, man. Like, the skills had came together. He had the team around him, and he was determined, and he actually displayed a motor that he generally never used to display. So, like, absolutely Shaq, bro. Shaq in 01.
And my last one, I'm actually going with Kawhi last year. I think that just what Kawhi did, just the shot that he hit, the dunk, like when you ran the dunk back, ran the dunk back on Giannis, like on replay, it wasn't as impressive as it looked in real time. But in real time, it looked like he dunked that man through the Air Canada Center, and what the fuck was going on? But just for him having that run and be in Toronto for one season and do what he did in the play, I think he shot 50% in that series against the Sixers, something crazy like that. Just that run that he had. I don't want to say coming out of nowhere, but kind of in my opinion, I didn't think it was gonna look like that before this. I didn't think that was gonna happen. So Kawhi's last year I think was crazy. Those are probably like the 3 that stick out best in my mind. TPJ, you wanna?
Hey yo, shout out to our fan Teddy Hart. He just donated. He said, TPJ, you can put me in timeout, but I still support y'all. Your takes are ridiculous, but your dynamic is necessary, my G. Then he donated even more, and he said, LBJ greater than LeBron. Greater than MJ. MJ has a better resume and more accomplishment, but LeBron is athletically, physically more versatile, defensively, and better all around than MJ, with the exception of free throws. Stay safe, man. Hey, look, thank you for number 1, the donation. Number 2, for telling us to stay safe. But number 3, how does that make sense? He has a better resume and more accomplishments. That's it. You killed yourself with your own point, G. I'm done. If you got a better resume and more
accomplishments than everybody,
Who?
Nobody would ever call him the GOAT.
Who?
Bill Russell. Nobody would ever call him the GOAT. Ever. ever.
Yeah, but that's because he wasn't dynamic though. He wasn't dynamic though. Some people would call Wilt the GOAT though.
That was dynamic.
No, I'm dead ass. I'm dead ass. I'm dead ass.
Never heard anybody make the argument for the man that won 11 rings in 13
I hear it all the time from everybody older than 35. I'm not joking. I'm dead ass. I hear it all the time from everybody older than 35.
You mean 75?
No, I mean 35. I'm dead ass. No, I'm dead ass. I'm dead ass. When I ask people,
talking to my dad yesterday about Wilt Chamberlain, he was like, yeah. Even when I started watching Wilt, he was washed. I'm like, okay. He was like, yeah. So you got to be about 70.
Okay, well, fine. The old, listen. Whenever I talk to any, Whenever I talk to any old people about the NBA, literally, they talk to me about Bill Russell. They talk to me about Elgin Baylor all the time. They talk to me about Moses. They talk to me about out Wilt a little bit, but they always tell me that Wilt was overrated. So I'm sorry. I'm not just going to act like it ain't never been said. Now, I will say this. Yes, you can say that with Bill Russell, but also I've said numerous times on record that if you played basketball before Dr. Martin Luther King got shot, I don't really count what you did as being in the same thing, G. It's just a different level of athletes out here. I'm sorry. Sue me. It is what it is. I can't hear you, Was. Pavy, you still there?
Oh, my bad, I muted myself.
Oh.
The homie Vaughn with 2 exclamation points, and I'm hearing this take with 2 exclamations. LeBron is barely top 5.
Yeah.
Ah, man.
Yo, shout out to Vaughn, man.
No, the actual output on the floor would not agree with you, but we can move on, man. I think you guys wanted to talk about something else.
Yeah, Dame shot last year.
Yeah.
Dame shot. It's the 1 year anniversary of Dame of Paul George saying that Dame took a bad shot. That happened to actually wreck the Oklahoma City franchise. Nothing was the same after that shot. Where does that shot rank for you in the pantheon of great playoff shots?
I mean, it's got to be up there.
Can it be the best?
What was that? Say that again.
Can it be the best?
No, it's not going to be the best. Only because it's the first round. I think if it was in the conference finals, I think you would have to put it up there with even Kyrie, because Kyrie wasn't at the buzzer. It's this shot literally happens to end the game.
And gave him 50.
And ended the franchise.
And gave him 50. It gave him 50. It gave him 50 points.
Which is important, and it matters.
50.
I think why it's such a big shot is just you could tell the acrimony between the two sides. Like, Dame is so, he's such an anti-Russ in the sense that he's not loud and boisterous, and he's not all flamboyant. He's not dancing, and not that I don't love it, because I'm entertained by everything that Russ does, right? Like, Dame is he's the when you look up the word humble in the dictionary, it's Dame Lillard, right?
Dame Lillard, yeah.
It's like, I'm staying in the small town Portland. I'm about the team and the community and blah, 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 blah. Like, he's all of those things. So I think that adds to the shot and the drama, just the personalities involved and the story behind the shot, because it's not just a shot to take you to the second round of the playoffs. It's like a shot to vanquish one of your rivals. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was against Steve Blake, and no disrespect to Steve Blake,
we wouldn't have cared.
It's fine. It's like, that's not an actual rival of yours. That's not somebody whom people consider to be a peer and somebody who people judge you against, right? So I think it's not the best shot, but man, it's in my lifetime, it's easily in my top 5, probably. And the shots that I think about too is like Reggie when he pushed off of Mike.
Yeah, he pushed the shit out of Mike. He clobbered
Mike.
He pushed the shit out of Mike.
And he wets the shot. That was a big shot. Obviously, Mike against and that's probably everybody's
I'm surprised you
number
wouldn't say the Larry Johnson yet.
Man.
4-point play, bro.
Bro, that's so crazy, because I actually was living in New York at the time. I was a kid. The streets literally shook, bro. Like, people literally lost their freaking minds after that. That's definitely in the top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kyrie has to go up there. A lot of these shots got to go up there, but man, the Larry Johnson shot, and by the way, terrible call. That was not a continuation. That was a terrible call, but man, was that one of the more fun moments I can remember watching the NBA.
For me,
Houston against the Heat in the first round of that same exact playoff. The little floater and all of that. I actually was in the basement of my crib, and we had low ceilings, and I jumped up and punched a hole through the ceiling from that shot. Yeah,
that's funny.
For me, Dame's shot. If we just want to talk about the degree of difficulty of a shot, it's the greatest playoff shot I've ever seen. Degree of difficulty from that far away, I've never seen nothing like that. But if I had to rank it, obviously I think you basically covered everything. But obviously, and even looking at the aftermath, Russ isn't there anymore. Paul George is traded. The Thunder completely rebuilt their franchise. When you look at the seismic effects.
By the way, Pavy, just to get to that, sorry to interrupt, but Dame is essentially the reason why OKC fans get to pretend that Westbrook didn't do the exact same thing as KD did and leave the fucking team. This whole Russ stayed, even though he demanded a trade with 3 years left on his deal. Like
It's
the
different.
definition
It's
of
different.
how
It's
can you say he
different.
stayed when
It's
he's not
different.
there?
That's a lie. It's different.
How's it
It's
different?
different. G, you
How's it
traded Paul
different?
George away.
He demanded a trade.
So what? What
Yeah.
am I supposed to want to
He
stay when the whole
Like,
team getting
yes,
gutted and we
but
gonna
it's
be a
like-
franchise
But
and
he's a
cap for the
lifer.
hell?
PJ, he's a lifer.
Man,
He's a
hell
lifer.
no.
How
I
you a
don't
lifer
want to
and
hear
demand
that,
a
G.
trade?
I don't want to hear that.
Yes.
G.
3 years left on your deal.
I don't
Yes,
want to
but
hear
it's
that.
like
The
the
G.
only reason the
perception.
fans
I don't wanna hear
and
that,
the
G.
organization didn't act butthurt, they know they can't go nowhere with him.
Nah,
That's it.
They
That's
ain't
the
act
only
butthurt
reason
because they know
cool
the
with it.
team
They're
was
like,
in
we see
salary
what we can
cap
do with
hell.
you, and it's not good enough, so you can fucking leave. We don't care about
The team
starting
didn't have
over.
no money,
We
bro.
know what the peak is with you, so buy. With KD, who's actually a great player, they're like, well, shit. KD had us on the precipice of the finals. Of course, we're gonna get mad when he leaves.
They wouldn't have
If
been no
Westbrook had them
different
on the
if
precipice of the finals, they wouldn't have been like,
Gee.
oh no, just because you traded Paul George, it's okay to leave. You crazy? No, it's because he weren't that good.
Yes,
The
but it's
fans
also-
like you leave when
that
you're not
team-
good.
come on,
when
man.
you're
Yes,
good
but
and you
it-
leave, they don't like you.
their franchise was, I mean, did not have the
Yeah.
salary cap money to keep taking
Yeah.
those salary
It
cap
was 96
hits.
million.
So they
like
was
the
so
luxury
once
tax.
PG
Like they presented
PG
it
did
as
them
like
a favor.
organizational move.
PG did them a
Guys.
favor by asking to be traded, bro. They was literally
Guys.
gonna be like $30 million in the cap again.
Guys, he did them a favor because he's not good enough.
Who, PG? PG or
No,
Russ?
no, Westbrook and Paul George. they're not
KD
good
too.
enough.
KD wasn't good enough, or he would have stayed and won. He wasn't good enough.
KD
He
had
wasn't
them
good
on the
enough.
Game, they're losing in the first round to the Trailblazers.
If you know
who
KD, tell
basically-
KD to come on here and talk about this. He wasn't good enough. So this, all the stuff that y'all be making for him is excuses.
Hold up. And what about Westbrook and Paul George? They lost in the first round. First
fair.
round to a team
be
that was
fair.
basically under 500 this season.
To be fair,
okay,
PG didn't have
They
working
lost in-
shoulders.
Hold up. I'm telling you the reason why the fans were cool with it. They weren't good. They were a first round team 2 years in a row. Now, okay, you can leave, motherfucker, bye. When you in the conference finals going to game 7 against 73 win teams, now it's a problem when
Yeah,
you
but
going
you
to
wasn't
leave.
doing that
That's
without
the only
Russ. You
difference.
wasn't doing that
That's
without
the-
Russ, though. You
Oh, and
glossing
what
over the
did
fact that
Russ do
Russell
without
Westbrook was
KD?
there.
What
Russell
did Russ
Westbrook
do
was out
without
there.
KD?
What could KD
He
do
got
without
embarrassed
Russ?
2 years in a row.
KD ain't did shit
Ricky
without
Rubio
Russ.
was getting in his ass.
KD
You don't
ain't did.
remember
What has
that?
Kevin
You
Durant
don't
done without
remember
Russ?
that in the
What has
first
Kevin
round?
Durant
Ricky
done without
Rubio
Russell
getting in
Westbrook and
his
Stephen
ass?
Curry? What has Kevin Durant done without Russell Westbrook and Stephen Curry? Jack
He
shit.
sent the finals.
Not
and
without
conference
Russell
finals.
Westbrook. Not without
Again,
Russell
but
Westbrook.
there's-
He
hold
did
on,
that
hold on.
shit
There's a
with
sample
Steph
size.
Curry and
There's a
Klay
sample.
Thompson and Draymond Green.
Hold on,
You
hold
just
on.
told me
Westbrook
KD
has a
glided to a
sample.
ring. How you glide to a ring, but then when you playing with Russ, you can't win with Russ. You can get to the finals
on,
with
when
Russ.
you
You
play
can't do
with
that on your
Russ,
own.
When you play with Russ, you go to the conference finals and lose barely in game 7. When Russ plays without you, he gets embarrassed in the first round every fucking year.
Gee, what
That's
did
the
he do
difference.
without Russ? What did he do
That's
without Russ? What did
different.
Kevin Durant win without Russ? That's what I want to know. What did he win without Russ? Nothing. When he was in OKC and Russ was hurt, what did he win
Again.
without Russ? Nothing.
Again.
They got
Again.
eliminated that year after he got hurt
Again.
when Patrick Beverly
Again,
ran into the
I
man's
promise
leg.
you, I promise you. Paul George is not KD, obviously, but he's a reasonable facsimile, meaning like, all right, they play the same position. He's not quite as good, but he's clearly a damn good player. He's not Harrison Barnes.
If KD had a torn
He's-
labrum, would you be saying the same thing?
If what?
If KD labrum was torn, would you be saying the same thing? PG labrum torn.
I'm saying the Oklahoma City organization and fans got 3 years of Russell Westbrook while KD was gone. It sucked. The experience sucked. That's why they cool with him leaving. Nothing else. Don't talk to me about,
I guess.
oh, you went to the team that beat
I
you. Oh,
guess.
no, you sucked. You stunk. You lost in the first round every single fucking year. That's why you're cool with it. That's it. I don't want to hear this shit. Because this is what sports fans do. Zdrunas Ilgauskas left the same
This is
year
what sports
with the
fans do.
same
They
team as
argue for the
LeBron
same
James.
arguments about LeBron. You make the same or talking about they suck.
No, I'm about to
They didn't
bring
do
it back
nothing
to
without
LeBron.
that man, G. They didn't do
Zdrunas
nothing without Russ.
Ilgauskas left the Cleveland Cavaliers the same year for the same team and got a standing ovation when he went back. You know why? Because he sucked. It's okay to leave when you suck.
Nah,
That's
he was
it.
old.
It's not okay to leave
What
when
you
you're an
mean?
all-time great.
You
That's
play
it.
10 years for a franchise. You can't get a standing ovation when you come back.
Why LeBron
I mean,
ain't get a
Bron
standing
played like
ovation?
8 years. With him.
Huh?
Why-
He's
why
still
LeBron-
playing for the competition.
why-
Bron ain't on his
so
last legs.
So
Bron
is
ain't on
Big
his
Z.
last legs. Bron still beating the shit out of you.
So was Big Z.
Big Z wasn't still
left for
beating
the
the shit out of
same
you
team
when
that season.
Big Z was on his
Everybody
last
defined
legs
he
and
sucked.
since like 2007. Let's stop acting
And
like
the
Big Z was in his
okay when
prime
you
in
can't
07.
suck. That's it.
Big
If
Z
you
wasn't in
suck,
his
you can
prime
leave.
after
If you're good,
07,
you
G.
can't. That's it. That's how fans
Stop, G.
operate. Westbrook got his ass mollywopped. Rubio, come on.
And guess
son.
what? KD ain't
Remember
won
when he
nothing
said,
without
"Yo, I'm
Steph
gonna
Curry
come
or
at
Russell
Rubio the
Westbrook.
next game."
To be fair,
KD ain't won nothing without Russell Westbrook or
stuff.
Steph Curry. He ain't never won nothing without either one of them. So I don't want to hear that. KD need a point guard to play with in order for him to be great.
in the
That's the
same
only way he can be
stratosphere as
great.
Kevin
And
Durant.
we got to
Both of them
stop
is-
with this lie that KD is
But-
great without a duo. He ain't
But
great without a
Was,
duo. But I know you got to go, Was.
I know you got to get up out of here.
I love doing this with you guys.
we-
It reminds me of being back home with my own homies and like doing this kind of stuff. Because obviously, you know, when we at Staples, we can't talk
We
this
can't.
way. We can't be loud and black.
My God, man, we really appreciate you coming on, bro. Thank you.
Hey,
man.
I appreciate you having me, man. Invite me on more, and of course, I support what you guys are doing. I love what y'all are doing. Anytime I can come on and dish out hot takes and defend the one true king, LeBron James,
He's
I will
not the one true
absolutely
king.
do that with you guys, man. Pav, PJ, I love y'all brothers,
All right,
man. Thank
Peace
you.
out, Was,
My
bro.
guy,
All
man.
right.
My guy.
All right, so shout out to Was, man. All right, he just left. So Pav,
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good too. We got another podcast coming up tonight for you guys. In about an hour with the homie Damian Ritter. He's a music manager. He also works with a lot of YouTube talent, so he's gonna come
Do I know
through.
this person?
No, you don't know him, but he's gonna come through. He's gonna talk hoops with us for a little bit. So go ahead, drop in the chat what you'd like for us to talk about later with our guest Damian. But big shout out to the homie Was. Sorry for any audio issues that happened. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot to hit record on the external recorder. So whatever is up is up. I'm sorry. So if it was messed up for about 3 minutes, my bad. I noticed y'all comments and I tried to fix it as fast as I could. But it's been Hoops and Brews, man. We appreciate you. The podcast version of this will be going up ASAP, and we will have another one for you in an hour. Until then, peace out.
Fresh like I just got a contract. Fresh like I just got a max. Roller this, we ballin' to the max. Fresh like I got a contract. Moving through the city, we be going.
Yeah, yeah,
Roller this, you pullin', now you know it.
yeah, yeah.
Fresher than a max contract.
Look,
Pullin' up, we walkin', then we walkin' in the back.
every time you see me, know I look like Stephen Curry money. Like finals every year, what you expect from me? I'm jiggy like I'm Lagerfield. Moving like I'm Revis if I played the field. I ain't